What's up, y'all? AJ Simmons here, checking in for another interview for you guys. Today, I have Mrs. Victoria Mancheno. Did I say your name correct?
You did.
Good, good. Thank you, Victoria, for joining me today, and I appreciate you for taking the time out to speak with us and share some of your gems. So, let's go ahead and start off from the beginning and tell us a little bit about where you're from and who Victoria Mancheno is.
All right. Thank you for having me on the show today, AJ. Just want to say thank you for that at least. But I am an Army veteran. I actually still currently serve. I'm active duty. I'm originally from Florida. I'm married and two kids, and I am up here in Massachusetts stationed. And I just started to see a guy who was always cleaning in our building. And I had a friend who's a sergeant major, which is like very high ranking in the military. And she was like, that guy is here on contract. She was like, we should look into contracts. Everything that makes the world go round is based upon contracts. And she was like, come on, let's get into it. And so we registered our LLCs and everything, and we got our entities in order, and then we registered ourselves to obtain government contracts, and here we are.
That's what's up. So, did you always want to get into business, or did it kind of spawn from that?
I always wanted to leave generational wealth for my children. I just didn't know in which avenue to do it. And the more I became educated about contracting and real estate, I decided to go both avenues. So I actually have two different business entities. Actually, three. I have a nonprofit as well.
Oh, that's what's up. Okay. All right. Well, I see that you got your starter kit course on May 29th, right?
Hmm.
But I also saw that you posted in the group the other day that you are into government contracting. So I would assume that you were already in business before you got your starter kit course. So I guess my question.
Yes, I was actually. So in the janitorial world, that was my number one. Hey, I wanted janitorial contracts, the government. And it wasn't until like I actually got out there on beta.sam.gov. I'll explain the website later to spell it out. Where I became more aware of more contracts past janitorial. They will give a contract just for shredding paper, making pamphlets. I mean, there's contracts for the simplest things. Everything does not have to be so extreme.
Right.
And I decided to kind of just uh, register for different NICS codes, which is, I don't know if anyone knows what that means, but it's basically a primary code that indicates what your business entity does. So obviously, like janitorial is 561720. That's a NICS code if that's what you want to register your business as your primary focus. Um, and I said, before I get out here and doing all the math of the calculations and bidding for federal contracts, let me learn a little bit more about janitorial before I bid for those. So what I did was I added other NICS codes under my business entity, and I got approved to do a contract for a year. So I'm on a reoccurring basis every month. I have a contract deal right there in Missouri,
Mm.
actually. So
So that's
look at me,
amazing. So,
right?
so you before you even got into cleaning government contractors, you just got other contracts through
Right,
the government.
right. God was like, "Whoop, I'm gonna just kind of shake it up a little bit." So yeah, I did actually.
That's huge. That's what's up. So congratulations on that because I love that. So
Thank
uh
you.
what so with that said though, so what made you even want to join CBN then since you were already in business and how have you benefited from it so far?
I'm just gonna be very honest, AJ. I support Black business, and I saw a brother that was supporting other people and saying, "Hey, we can all eat." And I am all about making sure that other people have opportunities to eat around me. It's not just, oh, I want some dollars in my bank account and I want to just sit on it. No, I want those people who are saying, look, no one will hire me because I have dreads. No one will hire me because I'm Black or because I have a history. Whatever the case may be, I want to be giving those people opportunities to have a job. If you can clean, if you can do your job and be accountable and reliable, then I can hire you. If you follow all my other, parameters and my guidelines of hiring, I'm willing to hire you so you can feed your family. And that was part of my big vision of ensuring that I have a minority focused based janitorial company. I don't mind hiring outside of our race, but when you see the school to prison pipeline, And you also see how we're always judged just based upon our appearance, or if we have orange hair or blue hair, whatever the case may be, someone wants to deny us an opportunity to eat at the table as well. So that was my vision as well for Janitorial.
That's real. And I appreciate you for doing that. So you didn't have to do it. So I appreciate that. And then also, because what that is right there, that's called group economics. And a lot of people talk about it, but they don't always practice it. So I appreciate you for actually practicing. And I try to do my part as well in doing that. Now I gotta ask you this. So you already had a cleaning company. So when exactly did you start your cleaning company?
So I actually registered the entity in December of 2019. And I mean, obviously 2019, I don't think anybody was ready for 2020 to slap us all in the face, right?
Right.
But I wanted to make sure before I take on the liability of a janitorial company in this time of a pandemic with COVID-19, I wanted to make sure I had all my ducks in a row to prevent any lawsuits or anything like that. Make sure I knew what I was getting into with the numbers and accountability, making sure I'm not losing money as opposed to actually making money. I wanted to make sure that my team would be safe. I could order the right materials at a low cost but efficient rate for my staff. Make sure I can also give them workers' comp in the event that something was to happen. I wanted to make sure I had that training before I disperse.
Right.
So that was important to me. And it's a lot of people that are taking advantage of people who want to make money, and they'll have these super expensive courses. And it's like, the point of the matter is for us to learn how to be our own fishermen. And you can't do that if people are struggling just to try to buy the course. So when you make it affordable, you make it realistic, and you make it available to all, that plays a factor into us stepping up a little bit further on the ladder.
100%. No, that's 100% accurate there. So I noticed, so you started in December. So do you care to share what your monthly revenue is now with your cleaning company?
So actually I made about $2,000. But I kind of sat down for a little bit. I haven't bid on any more federal contracts with that. Because I've been focusing mainly on the number one federal contract I have. So I kind of like sat down on the janitorial for a little bit, because this one took a lot more of my focus and time to read. So this contract that I'm in currently, it's actually public speaking, and it's dealing with soldiers and dealing with resiliency and training them how to be resilient past suicide and depression. So that's how I got into this contract right now. So that takes a lot more of my time with studies and neurology and social skills. Like, I really take my time to make sure I present good information in sessions when I do present, like on a monthly basis. I do it at the National Guard units.
I'm so glad that you did this interview, because wait a minute, did I just hear that correctly? Did you just say that you have a government contract for speaking? See, I know they have government contracts for everything, but I don't think I internalize the word everything when we say that. That's amazing. Congratulations again on that. I love that.
Thank you.
No problem at all. So what was do you know, so far, how much would you say you invested in your cleaning company?
I would say I've probably invested between $1,000 with like quality cleaning products and insurance, and then you calculate in how much you've also had to buy your supplies. And yeah, I would say about 1,000. I would say about 1,000. But I wanted to make sure I stopped spending before I make profit, so I kind of held off. I did a couple of residential properties. I was able to outsource that to a couple of properties, and I did that for a little while, and then I stopped because residential can be very it can be very interesting dealing with people, and I enjoy commercial work preferably. I did, when I was in college, I did this work for commercial apartments. I always did it as like a side hustle. I never made it a real entity until I became in the service and I learned about it. But I had cleaning experience since I was like 14. I was like that's like over 15 years ago. So you can imagine, learning how it really goes into play when you decide to become under, your own LLC and you become a legal entity. That's when things change. It's not just under the table anymore. You take responsibility. So that's why I kind of held off on doing that for just a little bit so I can make sure I get in the groove of my current contract that I have. Because what you don't want to do is be so eager and ready to bid for these contracts. And, let's say you win them all, you're going to be outstretched and you're not going to have enough quality of yourself to put into each product. And then you're going to lose contracts. So it's better to just set your pace and then you go with one or two and then you roll with it. Because there's some small contracts out there for janitorial and then there's also big ones. But when you out there with them janitorial contracts, there's some big dogs that they don't play. They make sure your products are EPA. Some of these are federal buildings. They want to make sure they're background checked. They want to make sure who you got on your rosters before you even enter the building, before you even enter the premises. They want to make sure, you have liability insurance, you have all your ducks in a row. It's a lot that comes with federal contracting when it deals with janitorial. Because, you're dealing with chemicals, you're dealing with liabilities. You want to make sure your ducks are in a row.
Absolutely.
And it takes a lot of time. Some of these contracts that are available are thousands and millions of dollars. We're talking about $19.5 million is set aside just for janitorial contracts. Yeah.
Exactly.
And if I can also add to that, there is several millions and thousands of dollars that are set aside for minority-owned, women-owned business, small business under 500 employees, or 8A identified, or hub zone. I don't know if anyone understands what hub zone is, but that's those usually low economic, zones or cities that are not too fond of usual high income businesses in there. Let's say like what we call the hood, that's what a hub zone would be identified as based upon that. Economically disadvantaged. You make less than $750,000 a year, that's available. There's opportunities. And for those people who are married or who have a female business partner, put your woman or the female in the business at 51% ownership. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. There are so many opportunities. Veteran-owned business, small disabled veteran business. It's so many varieties out there, especially within our community, that we just don't know about.
No, that's facts. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you said that too. I was just watching an interview on Black Enterprise's YouTube channel, and I'm so mad I cannot think of the man's name right now, but he is a Black man. He has a $700 million net worth, and he's a real estate developer. But what he was speaking on was how a lot of white men who own a lot of these big corporations will do exactly what you just said. And put their wife's name or sister or mom or whoever as a 51% owner, and then they would turn around and get these minority opportunities, even though they're not really minorities. Okay,
right?
So that was an excellent point that you brought up there. I appreciate that.
No problem. No, that's going on right now in America, and let's just call it what it is. We're not having discussions within the Black community, Latino communities, and Hispanic communities about these things. And this is why we keep seeing the same cycle of them advancing and we're not.
Right. No, that's fact. Now, I wanted to say this too, because I asked you how much did you put into the business, and then before that I asked you how much you made so far. And the reason I asked that question, those two questions, because I like to show people, because I know that people are scared. You know what I mean? So that was for the beginners to see that, listen, if you put your 1,000 in or you put your $2,000 in, chances, as long as you do the work, you will get your money back. As long as you do the work, because even Miss Victoria here, where you you're pacing yourself with it. But even with the way that you carried it, you still made your money back already, just the investment. You know what I mean? And so that was the point I'm really trying to drive home. And speaking of the newbies, I also wanted to ask, so for the customers that you've gotten so far, what tactics have you used to get customers?
I did Google ads, I did Craigslist. I sometimes just do word of mouth. Sometimes I'll just call different apartment complexes.
Right.
And I just ask, But literally, it's, I wear my brand when I'm out. I go to the grocery store and I have my, cleaning business name T-shirt on, and someone asked, and when I decided to kind of sit down for a minute on Janitorial, I stopped wearing it so I wouldn't keep getting asked. But that's literally how I do it, because people, they see it and like, oh, okay, that's smart. They probably thought about it. Let's say it's a daycare. Oh, I should get someone to clean my daycare center. Okay, boom. But they don't ever like act on that thought until something reminds them again. I mean, I can speak from my own experience. I knew I wanted to get my house some work done, and I was like, I'll find someone. And I put it in the back of my mind, and then I see this truck that has, major home improvements. And I was like, oh, let me call him right now because I see the truck. I got excited.
Yep.
And that's how it worked. Business worked, and then we got a contract, and we got the house, redone. And that's what I believe is more effective to me.
That's
Maybe
fact.
not to everyone else, but I just don't feel like I need to keep spending money on Facebook all the time, on Facebook ads or Instagram ads or whatever. Because sometimes some people, the dynamics have changed. Even though we were locked in the house, yeah, digital would have been it back in the day, like a couple of months ago. But now everybody's like rebellious. They don't want to stay in the house. They want to get out. So if that means they go to the grocery store for a pack of bread or just right there up to the gas station, I'm wearing my shirt now. I'm showing that side of human, human decency behind a brand. I'm not just, hey, I know you clicked in the word clean on Google, so I'm gonna pop up on your screen. I want them to see that there's a human behind the business.
No, that's real and that's fact. And that's something that I try to drive home so much. Like, post every day. If you have a business, you should be posting about that thing every day on social media. Even not if you like forget the paid ads on
Mm-hmm.
social media, just simply post about it, because nobody will know if you don't tell them. And then, like you said, maybe they saw you one day and be like, yeah, I'm gonna give them a try one day. And
Mm-hmm.
but they, it's we busy. Things slip your mind. But if you post again one more day, one more day, one more day, that
Right.
one day when they need you, you'll pop
Mm-hmm.
up and, oh yeah, I forgot he had that cleaning company. Let me go ahead and call him up and give him a try. So that was an excellent point again too. And also I wanted to see. So I heard you talking about SAM's registration and all of that.
Yes, let's get into it.
Yeah, so let's jump into that. So I guess what would be the first step for somebody looking to get into government contracts? Is that where they start?
No, for one, I'm gonna back up away from that to get
Okay.
to launch forward. In order to get registered with SAM, you need to have all your ducks in a row. And by that I mean you need to ensure that you have a LLC or S corp or C corp or whatever entity that you are registered. Make sure you're registered with that state. This ain't just, oh, I'm noodles and poodles, and I'm a company, I'm a register and get federal contracts. No, baby, they dig, okay? They dig to make sure that you are registered with your state. They make sure that you are registered as an entity before they even allow you to say you're approved and active to bid on federal contracts as well as grants.
Mhm.
Two, what you're going to need to do is make sure that you register for a EIN, employee identification number. And then three, you're going to make sure that you register for a DUNS number, DUNS. Dun and Bradstreet does not have to be free. It's totally free. I mean, it does not have to cost. It's totally free. Um, Go right there, DUNS number, and that you get it within 24 hours. Um, Sometimes I give it to you the same day. If you call them and say, hey, I want to bid on federal contracts, I'm registering sam.gov. They will give it to you right then and there over the phone. And they're going to make sure that it matches up with the state that you registered under the name. So if your name is Blue Skies, comma, Inc., then you need to register your company as Blue Skies, comma, Inc. with Duns and Bradstreet, because they're going to make sure that it matches with the state entity in the comptroller's office. And once they approve that, then you go on sam.gov, and it's going to tell you to create an account on login.gov. Please keep note of all those registrations because those do play a factor. With they play a factor with you logging in. So make sure you always keep track of your login for that. Then after login.gov, you can create an account with sam.gov, sam.gov. And after you do that, it's going to ask you all these different questions. You're going to answer the appropriate questions that matches the identity and who you are as a company. And then you're going to wait for your approval of registration. If they need additional information, they will email you and say, hey, we need X, Y, and Z. This is an entire free process. It does not cost you a dime. And then once you're approved, you're going to get that email that says active registration. Hey, bid on them contracts and get that money.
Right. And look, so with that is specifically for federal contracts, right?
Correct.
Okay, bam. And so then there would be a different website if they wanted to do state or local.
Correct. But actually, some of these contracts, they're like in your state. So what I've done, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows all the juice. When you register for sam.gov, ensure that you put the option all states. When it asks you for which state you want to bid for, it can ask you for either one particular state or all states. Put all of them. Put them all. And then just, get a business license for that state when you get that opportunity. So I have not bidded for state. I'm kind of a tree climber. I was like, bump the state. Let me go straight to the top.
Right.
Let me get federal, right? But to
Right.
each their own. Maybe you want to start small. I personally was not interested in that. But I do recommend that, whatever your comfort level and what you can do, stay within that realm of it. Don't try to overdo yourself, over project. Don't do that.
Love that. Now that's a lot of gold in that. Now I also we touched on hub zones a little bit. Now, if I'm not mistaken, based on my memory, hub zones also give you a little bit of a preference too when bidding on government contracts. Am I correct on that?
You correct.
Okay, cool. So if you got the hub zones, you got the SWAM vendor, was that the what minority owned and then the woman owned. So all of these different preferences to help you get government contracts. Is there anything else that you can share with us that'll help somebody win a government contract?
Absolutely. Take your time for number one. Make sure you meet the time deadline. And when you sign these government contracts for your solicitation bid, some of these bids, you have to know the difference in the terminology. What I would suggest to a lot of people is reach out to your local PTAC center. It's called PTAC, and you can find it on sam.gov. You can do it based upon where you reside or where the business entity is. And what they'll do is they'll help you guide yourself along the process. Say, hey, this is what I want to do. I need assistance. I can't remember what the PTAC stands for, but I know it's PTAC. Let me look it up if you don't mind. Give me just a second.
Take your time.
And they can help you walk the process as well on what to do. So it's the Association of Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. Basically, procurement is contracting or acquisition, which is a lot of people's fancy way of saying contracts, government contracts. These things, I can send you the website. It's aptac-us.org. And what it does is it allows you to receive all the knowledge you need to know about government contracting assistance, different partners. You create an account, and it'll help you step by step, and you'll have your own direct consultant to reach out to. And if you can't reach out to your direct one in your city or your local county, find the next one in the nearby county.
You giving out so much information and so much gold. Like if people walk away from this interview right here and don't do nothing with it, I don't know what to tell them. Because I already know I'm about to go apply for some speaking contracts with the government right after this. So.
Go for it. Here's how you do it. You open up a tab on your browser, and you look up NICS code, and you type in certain keywords that correlate to what you're trying to do. There's so many different ones, AJ. I don't mind helping our community win. I feel as though when I put in the knowledge to give other people, we all win. It's not just whether if it's to me or to any next person. And I don't feel like we should charge one another for that. You know what I mean? Like, I just want everybody to win. Let's come out of the struggle of feeling like we got to live paycheck to paycheck or whatever. We all trying to create either generational wealth or our own sense of freedom, if not both. So I'm all for that. I'm all for these interviews and further information to pass along. I'm for it.
Absolutely. That's why I'm telling you, I've been doing this for so many years now, just putting out video after video after video, full of information and knowledge, and people can take and do what they will with it. And also, I want to say this too, because you said NICS code, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands. You're talking about the NAICS, right?
Correct, which is basically your business identifier of what industry you're in. or what
Exactly.
industry that you can offer services in. So if you want to offer services in public speaking, you want to offer services in paper shredding, you want to offer services in cutting trees. There are contracts out there for that. I'm telling you, it
Right.
is.
I just wanted to break that because I used to call it a NAICS code. So now we know it's NICS. So thank you for that.
No problem. It's just
All
it's
right.
more easier to pronounce, and maybe I'm saying it wrong. I just call it Nick's code, but most people refer to it as Nick's code.
Right. Okay. Now, what has been the hardest part about being in business for you so far?
For which business? I got three. I got a nonprofit, I got a tax and notary business, and then I also have the janitorial business, and I also do website design. So I mean, I
You
would say the challenge for all of them is finding balance and making sure I pace myself to produce quality in each and every area.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And that's because that's what I'm really looking for, just in general. You know what I mean? What has been the hardest part about business? And you say balance. I could see that. I definitely could
Mhm.
see that because, yeah, I won't go into it, but I definitely could see that. Now, what has been the greatest benefit for you about getting into business?
Oh man, you know what's the greatest thing is when I'm able to see other people win because of decisions I made a couple of months ago. Whether that's them saying, you know, I'm able to have a paycheck to feed my kids. That's a rewarding feeling, or just seeing that I made a difference in somebody's life. You know, maybe to them they probably feel like I'm just a golden Jesus to them. That's furthest from my perception. I just see it as I'm helping the next person. And I'm big on servant leadership. And if I'm in a position where I've climbed the ladder a little bit, then I'm going to help my next counterpart climb the ladder just as well.
Agree 100%. That's the thing. Like whenever I'm down and I just
Hmm.
be ready to say forget all this stuff, it's the feedback that always kept me going. It's the jobs that I created, always kept me going. It's those customers that I helped that always kept me going. So I agree with that 100%. The money is one thing, but it's nothing like, you know what I mean, helping somebody else and seeing the decisions that you made actually, basically your imagination come to fruition. So
Right.
yeah, I agree with that 100%. Now, what would you say to somebody listening to this interview right now?
Mhm.
They scared to start that one business, and you got three. Okay, so but they scared just to take action on that one. What would you say to that person?
Ooh, AJ, that was a good one. Why are you scared to bet on yourself when your employee isn't afraid to let you go at a moment's notice?
Hmm, hmm. You know, you, you got to do some soul searching on that one. That's absolutely
Yeah, maybe that's too deep for them. I don't know.
right.
Maybe you want to.
Run it back one more time. Run that back one more time.
Well, why are you so willing to not bet on yourself, but your employer is willing to allow you to go at a moment's notice?
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know,
Think about that. All right, Miss Victoria. One last question for you.
no
What?
problem. I can answer any questions you need.
Absolutely. What do you want your legacy to be when it's all said and done?
Serving others, serving others, and humility. That's important. I teach my son that and my daughter, and that's important to me because when we learn how to serve others, then we learn how to build and strengthen our communities.
Love that, Miss Victoria Mancheno, everybody. How can we follow your journey, Miss Victoria?
I'm always on the Clean Biz Network. I'm always on there. You guys can send me a message on there. I am on Facebook. Send me a message on Messenger. I mean, there's a multitude. You can also follow us on invincibleproject.org. You can drop us a message on there. The invincibleproject.org is a nonprofit I also operate. Um, so, hey, if you want to give back to the youth in our community, we're open to that. Um, there's always a way to get in contact with me. I'm not untouchable.
Right. All right, Miss Victoria, thank you so much for taking the time. It was truly an honor, and we got a lot of knowledge out of this one. So I can't wait to post and share with everybody. And thank you again for taking the time and doing this with me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited, AJ. You take care and be blessed.
Thank you.